I want you to make tons of money this year by selling cool paving jobs and pavement maintenance jobs and striping jobs over the phone. In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can drop the sales hammer on the phone so that you can increase your sales and make way more money this year. What's up, guys? Matt is very excited for this video. He's just jumping out of his chair. This video is brought to you by our friends at Mighty Lime, mightylime.com/stripeit. They would love to send you a sample kit of their floor products, which we use. They're great. Matt's excited because we're going to talk about selling jobs over the phone, which is so foreign to so many people who start in their striping and seal coating businesses. They don't even know that you can sell jobs over the phone. And when I say sell jobs over the phone, I mean you're probably still going to issue a contract or a service agreement or something like that. But there's things that you can do that most business owners aren't trained to do, unless you come from a background in sales. And I have a really simple framework for how you can do this. It's a 3-step framework. It takes a little bit of work and a lot of questions, but if you can master this, you can absolutely make sales for striping, seal coating, asphalt repair on the phone, which I don't even need to explain the benefits of that. That's huge. You'll make way more sales. So here's the framework. It's called the hammer. The hammer is 3 steps, okay? You're going to gather 3 pieces of information from your customer: the scope, the time frame, and the budget. That's it. So I'll walk you through them quickly one by one. So first things first, what is the scope of work that your customer actually wants? So when somebody phones you from a small commercial parking lot and in my world says, I just want my parking lot restriped, or I just want my parking lot swept, or whatever the thing is, that's a pretty straightforward scope of work. But if you can ask a few tactical questions on the phone to really understand what they're trying to accomplish. So is there a reason why they're restriping this year? Is there specific things that we could do better that their last striping job maybe didn't do? Is there some value that we can add somewhere? If you can ask those questions, we're not trying to gather every single bit of precise information. We're just trying to get some surface level ideas from the customer and look for opportunities to add value. So whenever I'm doing this, if I'm on the phone with a customer, like an inbound lead, I will actually have my computer open and I will say to them, I am on my computer. I'm actually going to Google your property right now and have a look at it and see what I see. And the reason for that is twofold. Number one, I'm looking for things to ask them based on what I see from Google Earth or Google Street View. But secondly, I'm already starting to formulate in my mind how much this job is going to cost. And I'll tell you why that's important in a second. So ideally, if you ask some good questions, you build some rapport with your customer, you understand the scope of work. Next thing that's important to understand is the time frame. Now, this is really simple. There's not much to this, but surprisingly, a lot of contractors completely overlook this. Figuring out when your customer wants this project to be done is super important. I used to make the mistake of thinking that every customer just obviously wanted their work done immediately, as fast as possible, and that's just simply not true. A lot of customers are willing to wait. Some customers have a very specific month that they're looking for their work to be done. So don't make the mistake of trip over yourself and just saying, we'll get it done right away. Ask them when they want it done. And the reason for that is very important when we drop the hammer at the end of this. So now, assuming you've got the scope of work, you've got the time frame, now comes the fun one that I guarantee if you've never done, you're going to be terrified of this. But it's not that big a deal. You can do it. I believe in you. You're going to talk about the budget with your customer. So while you're on the phone interacting with your customer and you're asking these questions, you're building that relationship up, you're looking for ways to explain the value of what you guys do. While you have their property open on your computer, unless you're brand new, you probably have a good idea of what this project's going to cost, especially if it's the core service of what you do, seal coating or striping or whatever. So a really good thing that you can ask your customer is, if you've had this work done before, maybe you had it striped 3-4 years ago or whatever, a good question to ask them would be you're aware of what you were charged 3-4 years ago. Is that what you're expecting to pay this year in 2025 or whatever year it is? Now, the reason why that's such a good question, in my opinion, is it's going to prompt your customer to share what they believe the project is worth, or even better, this is what's in their budget to do it. So if you're looking at a project on your computer and Matt overhears the customer and Matt's like, yeah, I think we're charged like $5,000 to do this a few years ago. And you're looking at it and you're like, this looks like a $5,000 job. Wonderful. You guys are on the same page. You can always tell your customer, like, I'm not going to be able to give you a precise quote until I come look at the property, but I have a pretty good idea that we're going to be within close to that budget number. You know, it might be a little bit more or less just depending on what I see when I'm there, but it looks to me like it's going to be around $5,000. Now, some customers are actually like have no problem giving you the numbers of what they've been charged in the past. This is especially true for commercial. Like it's not their money. They just want their problem solved. They're probably willing to share some information, especially if you're a likable person on the phone. So the more information you can get about the budget, super helpful. Okay, there's a lot of art to it. Definitely can't, one 3-minute video isn't going to like make you a pro at this, but I challenge you to do it, because to sum this all up, if you are able to get from your customer the scope of work, aka what they're looking for, time frame, aka when is it going to be done, and the budget, how much is it going to cost, you can pretty much pose it back to them in the form of a question, which I like to call the hammer, and make the sale. And the hammer goes just like this. Customer, so in my case, Matt here. Matt, this has been a great conversation. I really thank you for answering my questions. So from what I understand, you're looking to get this scope of work done, striping, seal coating, your fire lane, whatever it is. And it's important to you to have this done before June 30th, because that's when the big inspection is, or whatever they say. And you're expecting this to be around, $6,000-$7,000, whatever the budget is. If my company is able to deliver you the scope of work in the time frame that you need within your budget, is there anything stopping you from moving forward with hiring us to do this work for you? And then you shut up and you let them talk after that. If you can phrase basically every pain point or everything that they're looking for, budget, scope, time frame, and you're like, yep, I can do it. Can we move forward? You would be surprised how many customers on the phone would be like, that would be great. Put us on the schedule. Or what's the next step? So it's definitely different from what the instinct of a lot of smaller companies do. Sometimes the phone rings and the first thing you think is like, oh my goodness, I'll race over there and give you a quote. Probably not the best strategy. Ask those questions, gather that information, and if you can get those 3 pieces of info, you can drop the hammer on your customer, make sales on the phone. If you want more information about this, you want to chat sales, I'll chat sales all day. Matt doesn't like to chat sales with me. Just likes to talk about cameras and stuff. I'll talk to you about sales. Drop a comment in this video down below. Or if you have any suggestions for other content you'd like to see, we read them, I read them, Matt reads them. We'd love to see them. Keep your stripes hot. Talk to you next week.